Alright guys, how you doing? And welcome back to the FPL Updates YouTube channel, where today we're looking at, well, it's the start of a look at some of the new players on the game. We're going to outline the new transfers, whether to pick them, what are they like, what's their history, just, you know, to get a feel of them. Because of course, when new players come into the Premier League, there's the big question marks. Are they going to adapt to it? Are they going to need a first season? Are they just going to, you know, hit the ground running? We've seen people like Memphis Depay, you know, really struggle despite playing really well in Holland, but others doing really well, like Aguero coming in and just dominating the league and now becoming the league's best player. So we'll start with the goalkeepers, and of course, if more goalkeepers, etc., come into the league, we'll look at them too. So first of all, Victor Valdes is signed for Middlesbrough, a 2-year deal on a free transfer. Of course, he was at Manchester United. He did play twice in the league. He only started once for Man United and kept a clean sheet. He's obviously won the World Cup, Barcelona, won everything there. Good goalkeeper in his day. Of course, Middlesbrough now, probably a good option to have as his second choice goalkeeper. You know, relatively the goalkeepers aren't that expensive. I think Valdes, with the experience he has, and Middlesbrough, a team coming up, lots of new players, I think he'd be really good as a second goalkeeping option to have. You know, one on the bench who'll come in if your first choice doesn't play, and you can even use Valdes sometimes if he's doing well. So I think Victor Valdes is a really good option to have as his second goalkeeper at 4.5. Great price as well. Next, Loris Karius, who signed for Liverpool from the Bundesliga. Of course, Jurgen Klopp knows that league very well. Not sure yet if he's going to be first choice or if Mignolet is going to be first choice. We'll have to see how that one pans out. Bogdan is gone, so these two may be fighting for the jersey. They're not in Europe, so whoever's in goal is probably going to be a regular. Maybe Karius will give Mignolet a run for his money. Karius was at Man City as a kid, didn't make it, unfortunately. I think it's difficult to tell right now. If you put him in, I think it's a risk, considering Liverpool on the first day, they're at the Emirates, and I think on the second day, they're playing the champions. Steve Mandanda from Marseille to Crystal Palace. Great signing for them at 4.5. That's an absolute bargain. For the last 2 seasons, Mandanda was Ligue A player of, well, goalkeeper of the year. So he was the best goalkeeper in France for the past 2 seasons, beating the likes of Sirigu, Trapp, Ruffier, etc. Mandanda, the best goalkeeper in France the past 2 years. And now he's at Crystal Palace. A really good Crystal Palace team coming along. Maybe they need 1 or 2 defenders to strengthen him as well. James Tompkins in front of him. But Mandanda, I think, is a great goalkeeper to have in the Premier League. Really looking forward to see how he does. Of course, there were question marks over Hennessy and McCarthy at Palace, and Speroni making a lot of mistakes. Mandanda will look to just dominate that goalkeeping position and make it his. He joins from Marseille. Next, Ronald Koeman signing at Everton. Martin Stekelenburg. He had him on loan at Southampton. Of course, Stekelenburg, another player who's played a World Cup final in 2010 for Holland. He'll be Everton's #1 with Tim Howard going. You know, he had some game time for Southampton. Of course, Forster came in and did a lot better, I think. He was second choice to Forster at Everton. The Dutch links with Koeman, it might work, but as a goalkeeper, I don't think it's really worth it. You're looking at a Stones or a Coleman, really, for Everton. So I think Stekelenburg's not worth it. And finally, we've got Ron Robert Zieler, ex-Manchester United, signed for Leicester City. Of course, Kasper Schmeichel's still there. If he's still there, I think Kasper Schmeichel should still be #1. Of course, they're in the Champions League. Zieler, a bit of that Champions League experience, could help Schmeichel out, you know, push him to his limits. I think Schmeichel should still be #1 there. He deserves it for what he did last season. So I don't think Zieler's really worth it either. But that's going to conclude our FPL Updates look at the new goalkeepers. Of course, the transfers are going to keep flooding in. We're going to look at them in all positions. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment saying which goalkeeper here is your favourite and if you're going to pick any of them. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already.